Title: I came home from college for spring break and found my house empty with a "for sale" sign out front. My parents had moved without telling me. My belongings were in garbage bags on the porch. "Deal with it," my dad said. I cut all ties with my family. 1 year and 247 frantic calls later. Garbage bags and a front lawn goodbye. I was halfway down the driveway when I realized something was wrong. No cars, no porch lights, no barking from our old German Shepherd Max. Just a crooked "for sale" sign stabbed into the front yard, fluttering in the wind like it had been waiting for me. I blinked, rechecked the address. My Uber pulled away behind me, but I stood still, keys in hand, suitcase dragging at my feet. That was my house. Or it used to be. There was no one inside. In fact, there was no inside. Through the windows I could see empty walls, bare hardwood floors, no furniture, no signs of life. My heart pounded. I ran up to the porch. That's when I saw them. 6 black garbage bags, slumped against the rail like yesterday's trash. One had duct tape across the top, peeling from the rain. Written on it, in my dad's all-caps handwriting, "Your stuff. Deal with it." That was it. No note, no text, no explanation. I fumbled for my phone, hand shaking. "Hey, Dad, I'm home. What's going on? Did you sell the house?" He picked up on the second ring. "Yeah, we moved last month." A pause. "You didn't tell me." He scoffed. "You're in college. You'll figure it out. We didn't think you'd need the space anymore." I couldn't breathe. "You didn't even say goodbye." He actually laughed. "Christ, stop being dramatic. You've got your dorm. You've got your degree. Grow up, would you?" Then came the final blow. "It's not like we left you on the street. Your stuff's right there." I slept in a Motel 6 that night, surrounded by garbage bags. I didn't cry, because I wasn't sad. I was done. That was the day I cut off my family. No calls, no visits, no explanations. They had made it clear I was disposable. Fine. Let them learn what that actually felt like. 247 missed calls. I didn't block their numbers right away. That would have been too merciful. Instead, I let the voicemails pile up. The first few were smug. "You'll cool off. We did what we had to. You should be focusing on school anyway." Then they got annoyed. "This attitude of yours is unacceptable. You're acting like a child. Don't make us regret everything we've done for you." By the 10th message, they sounded less certain. By the 30th, they were begging. "Please call us back. This is ridiculous. We didn't think you'd actually cut us off. Your mother is worried sick." I stopped listening after message number 100, but I counted them, everyone. By the time it hit 247, I changed my number. I moved off campus the next semester, got a part-time job tutoring first years, picked up hours at the university research lab. I didn't need them, and I wanted to prove it. Not to them, to myself, because they hadn't just moved out without telling me. They had erased me, like I was just another old piece of furniture they couldn't be bothered to move. A few months later, I found out through a mutual family friend that they had downsized to a small condo across town. Apparently, they used the profit from selling our home to pay off their credit cards and lease a new SUV. Of course they did. No concern for where I'd stay. No apology for tossing my childhood into garbage bags. No acknowledgement that their "deal with it" had changed everything. But the best part? They had no idea what I was planning. Because while they were settling into their new life, I was learning exactly how to dismantle theirs, piece by piece. What they didn't know. I didn't change overnight, but I changed. I tightened my circle, focused on my degree, stopped trying to explain to anyone why I wasn't close with my family anymore. Because the truth, they weren't my family, not anymore. 6 months after they moved out and left me behind, I earned a grant, one of the most competitive in my program. It came with a stipend and a mentorship placement at a Fortune 500 biotech firm. My name started showing up on internal reports, on award bulletins, in emails CC'd to directors with titles like Vice President of Strategy and Global Research Lead. What my parents didn't know was this: I wasn't just doing okay. I was on my way to being influential. And influence is far more dangerous than revenge, because it's silent and permanent. They tried to get back in. At first, it was small: a birthday text, a LinkedIn connection request, a friend of the family passing along a message from your dad. I ignored them all. Then, they showed up. Not in person, but in the most cowardly way possible. Through a lawyer. Apparently, they'd taken on new debt, refinanced the condo, overstretched themselves with the SUV lease, and some bad investment advice. And now, they were trying to access a small education fund my grandfather had left in a trust, originally intended to support any additional postgraduate costs I might incur. Guess who the co-trustee was? Me. They wanted me to sign off so they could liquidate it. Just to keep things stable, the lawyer said. I said no, flatly, without hesitation, not because I needed the money, but because they didn't deserve a cent of something that had been built for me, something they threw away when they told me to deal with it. Their response came within 24 hours, a furious email from my father. You've made your point. Now grow up and do the right thing. I didn't reply. Instead, I contacted the trust's financial advisor and rewrote the stipulations. I extended the trust's protections, redirected it toward a scholarship fund for students like me. Discarded, overlooked, unsupported. My name would remain on it. Their access would not. They wanted to take one more piece of my future. Instead, I made it a lifeline for someone else. And that was the beginning of the end for them. The legacy without their name. The scholarship launched under a different name. The Spring Grant, a nod to the season I came home and found out exactly who my parents were. No one else knew the meaning, but I did. And when I watched the first student receive it, a foster youth entering engineering school, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. The school's alumni newsletter picked up the story. Local papers ran a feature on students giving back. They listed me as the founder, interviewed me for a 3-minute spot on a regional podcast. I didn't brag. I didn't name names. But my name was everywhere. And my parents weren't mentioned at all. I knew they saw it, because a week later, my mother sent a message. We're so proud of you. Please let us be part of what you're doing. Not sorry. Not we were wrong. Just let us back in. As if they hadn't emptied the house and dumped my life on the lawn. As if 247 ignored calls were something they could sweep under a rug because I was successful now. But you can't repack a heart that's already been trashed. I responded with one line. You weren't there when I was building this. You don't get to stand in front of it now. I was invited to speak at the spring commencement for undergrads that year. I wore a tailored blazer, my hair pinned back, my scholarship recipient in the front row. I took the stage. Sometimes, the people who were supposed to show up for us don't. But here's what they can't do. They can't stop us from showing up for ourselves. Or for each other. It wasn't a dig. It was a boundary. Spoken into a microphone. Broadcast to thousands. My dad sent one final message 2 days later. You've made your choice. Don't come back looking for us when life gets hard. I deleted it without reading the rest, because I'd already made peace with the truth. I'd never come looking. I had everything I needed, and their absence was part of the design now. Not in my name I met with an attorney that summer. Not because I was in trouble, but because I was done leaving loose ends. I want to revise my will, I said, and I want to ensure that my parents are fully and permanently excluded from any estate, trust, foundation, or personal asset tied to my name. He blinked. Do you want to leave a note of explanation? I smiled. Number I want to leave them nothing. We filed the paperwork. Every document now clearly read, no portion of Claire Morgan's estate, present or future, shall pass to Robert or Linda Morgan under any circumstance. I also updated the foundation terms. All board decisions required my sign-off. No family members, biological or otherwise, would ever hold administrative control. If I was hit by a bus tomorrow, they wouldn't inherit so much as a stapler. They had treated me like garbage. Now, they were legally irrelevant to everything I'd built. Around that time, a local journalist reached out for a feature. She wanted to highlight young philanthropists under 30 making a difference. We met at a cafe. She asked, "What inspired you to start this fund?" I looked her right in the eye and answered truthfully. I came home once to find everything I owned in garbage bags. My family moved without telling me. That was the day I realized blood doesn't equal loyalty. And I decided then that I'd build something better, alone, if I had to. There was a pause. Then she just whispered, "Wow." The story went viral in our region, not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. And the best part, my parents read every word and saw their names were nowhere in it. They called again, left voicemails. "We didn't know it would go that far. You made us look like monsters. We're still your parents." I didn't answer, because they didn't move without me by accident. They did it by choice. And now, they were learning what it felt like to be left behind. For good. The last door. They'll never open 1 year. To the day after I came home to garbage bags on the porch, I stood on a different porch. This one mine. Small house. Clean lines. A garden I planted myself. No for sale sign. No ghosts. Inside, there were no voicemails. No texts from people trying to reclaim me. Just music playing in the background, and a letter from a scholarship recipient sitting on my desk. "Thank you for believing in people like me. You changed my life." I smiled, because that's what this had become. Not just revenge, but redirection. I hadn't just walked away from them. I'd walked into something better. They still tried. Holidays, birthdays, excuses. You'll want family again someday. Don't let pride cost you everything. But pride didn't cost me anything. They did. And I had turned the damage into architecture, into foundation, into something they couldn't tear down with a single deal with it. Sometimes people ask if I ever forgave them. Here's the truth. I didn't need to, because I'm not holding them anymore. Not in my heart, not in my life, not in my future. I came home from college to an empty house, and now I'm finally home, in a life I built with hands they never bothered to hold. And the best part? There's no forwarding address. You are not alone, and you are so much stronger than you think. Tap that subscribe button to join Veiled Revenge, where we share tales that heal, inspire, and remind you that even the deepest heartbreak can lead to the most beautiful new beginning. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that revenge isn't always about getting even. Sometimes, it's just about getting better.